Watch out. I'm in one of those moods. Got my co-host with me. Um, we just finished our morning huddle, and I've got you on my mind. I've got experiments and you on my mind. uh, in case you don't know, we have a morning huddle 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. The only day off is Sunday. 7 o'clock in the morning Hawaii time is when we do this, noon Eastern every day. We get together. Usually it's about 15 minutes. Today it was a little longer. And I think today's conversation, there were a couple dozen of us on there. Today's conversation was next level. It cut to the heart of what happened in me, what happened in here, the days and weeks where something happened for me, and I went from perpetual struggle, years, over a decade, 14 years of struggle. I went from the perpetual, I was always the guy that people looked at and felt sorry for. I was that guy. If you knew me back then, that's who I was. People felt sorry for me. And I was needy. I was desperate financially. I was barely hanging on. I went from tons and tons and tons of that. It's practically all I knew. My whole adult life at that point. I went from that to somebody who was immensely effective. And it was very, very sudden change. What's funny is I was using, I think mostly I was using the same words, mostly. But I had this next level realization that I'm going to have a hard time putting into words. I really want for you to see the replay of the huddle that we just did. If you're somebody that is interested in changing your life, changing your results, changing your options, changing your zip code, it's changing, you got to see this. You got to see this. On the huddles, we're not selling anything. There's no pitch. It's just my guys. It's just us hanging out, talking. So if I'm selling anything here, it's that you can do better. You can do more. You can do it faster. It's those things. You know, back when I was first getting going, I couldn't even really dream about the life that we enjoy today. Couldn't even really, it was so out there, so off in the distance, so disconnected. I don't know if you feel that way. I don't know if I think a lot of us get in this zone where we're surviving, and we're so focused on the day-to-day survival that you don't really get to live. You don't really get to breathe. You know, a lot of the content you'll find online, or I find online, talks about Lamborghinis and beach mansions and all this sort of thing. It's such a weird disconnect. You don't want that, do you? Don't you just want to wake up when you're done sleeping and just breathe? Not be in a rush to get out of bed? Like, just enjoy yourself, just be lazy. I'm not talking about Saturday. I'm talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. How about just every day? How about every day is like that? That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's what most of us deep down, we want those basic, simple options, to just be able to make choices for ourselves instead of somebody else dictating our schedule, when we got to be where, when we got to be doing something, and when we can or can't go to the bathroom, or you know, it's those simple things. Forget about Lamborghinis. I guess if you really want a Lamborghini, you could go get one, but I don't have one, and I don't have any desire anymore. When I was a kid, I used to dream about stuff like that. Not that I don't have nice things. We have nice things. I'm sure you have some nice things here and there. It's nice to have, some of those things. But day to day, what is it really about? I think it's about being able to take a breath and just relax, or go have an adventure, or something like that. Um, the title of the email, if you saw this video, if you're seeing this video because you got an email from me. By the way, if you're seeing this video and you didn't get an email from me, and you're interested in hanging out on my list, you can do that at kristianhoenicke.com. I'll have it in the description below. There's an opt-in box there. I don't email real often, maybe 3, 4, 5 times a month. And it's usually spur of the moment. Like when I got something on my mind, I think you might get a kick out of, I'll shoot that out just like this. But the title of the email, if you did get it, was talking about experiments. So I want to wrap up on that. What am I talking about? Experiments. Well, in home business and in life, I guess, a lot of us are drawn to somebody else's experiment. I'll speak for myself. Over and over and over again, I was like, I was so drawn to these experiments. If it sounded new and different and shiny and interesting, and the marketing was different and interesting, and it was new, I would often go do those things and tell you guys about them. And it was a terrible mentality that I had. What I had going on up here left me in kind of in gamble mode. Like, I'm going to go gamble. I'm going to go play in somebody else's experiment, startup, somebody else's experiment. That's what that is. I'm not morally or ethically judging that. I'm just observing that whoever started that, they've got their fingers crossed and they've got their eye on the goal, and they're going to try to hit that goal. Very, very often the goal is not hit. And what happens if you joined that experiment and you put yourself at some amount of risk? Either your reputation, like I've done, your money, like I've done, your time, been there, done that. These are things that I think we should be more careful with. I wish I could roll the clock back and be more careful with those resources. So just a caution. And I know some of my friends, I was just talking to a buddy of mine a couple weeks ago about this. He's got a family, and he has found himself in somebody else's experiment more times than I can count. Awesome guy, hardworking guy, loves his family, wants desperately to provide kind of the next level options for his wife and his kids. Who doesn't? Did I just describe everybody? I hope I did. But in this case, I'm picturing him, and if he's watching this, he knows I'm talking about him. I'm not going to say your name. Let's just say Joe Schmo. How about that? And I really care about this guy. We've worked around each other and together on and off over the years, and I know him. I know what motivates him. I know what his goals are. And yet he ends up in these experiments over and over and over again. And unfortunately, he hasn't gotten lucky. He hasn't hit the lottery. And I think a lot of us imagine, maybe one day we join enough experiments and we work our tail off. Because it's not just joining. It's joining and throwing everything you have at it. Everybody, everything, every extra ounce of time. In a lot of cases, a fair amount of money. And then I guess what? We all cross our fingers together and hope the experiment pans out, which takes years. We won't know unless it, falls apart. The worst one of these I ever had was in a room full of people that I loved. The owner, the family behind everything, great people, really, really good people. And then it lasted about 4 months, 4 or 5 months, and it was over. Those, as painful as that is, it's less painful than it taking a year or 2 years to kind of drag on and not really get anywhere and be in this middle kind of ground where there's all kinds of problems. Um, so, dual message here, I suppose, in this video. The first is I really want you to see this Huddle replay. If you're game to see it, hit reply on the email. Throw a comment, I guess, on the video if you didn't see the email, and I'll get it to you one way or another. This Huddle, I'm not prepared to share open publicly. So if you found this video on my channel and you're not on my email list, let me think here how I want to do this. I think I want you to ask for it via email. I don't want to share this with anybody. So, with just anybody, I mean. So I want you to email me. So if you're not on my email list yet, go to kristianhoenicke.com, put your email in. You'll get an email from me. Just hit reply to that first email you get and ask me for the Huddle, and I'll get that to you. By the way, the replay is replaced every single day. So, so move quickly. I want to get you that. And then this other thought, totally different thought, I guess, but this other thought about experiments. Are you in somebody else's experiment right now? Are you risking your time, energy, reputation, money, blood, sweat, and tears in somebody else's experiment? It doesn't need to be like that. You don't need to win the lottery to get ahead in life, so to speak. I could show you the fundamentals. If you don't already know the fundamentals, I can show you those. I can show you how to go conquer the world without ever buying a lead, without ever running traffic, maybe even without ever feeling awkward. Maybe. But what if we could do something that wasn't complicated, something that isn't stressful, something that isn't time consuming, something that isn't expensive? What if we could do those? Last little thing here. I'm doing a show online later with a good friend of mine titled Mobility, Flexibility, and Freedom. If you have time later, you might want to sit in on that. You might want to be a fly on the wall, and that would be another thing to email me about. Just email me saying, "Hey, I want to see your show," and I'll get you a registration link. You got to put in your name and email to get a seat, and then you can be a fly on the wall and see what we talk about. So, oops, there's a little pitch. I can't help it. It's so good. It's so good. It has changed so many lives. I have to talk about it. Okay, enough rambling. How about you get on with your day, and maybe I'll see you in my inbox, huh? Take care.